high price tag area. Like San Francisco, I go to the Central Valley. Los Angeles, go to the Central Valley. If you're in Boston, go out an hour or 2 hours. If you're in New York, head east a couple hours. If you're around North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, I do this model in many, many states. This lease option program that I'm going to talk about, I call it REAL. Real estate is leverage, because it has created an enormous amount of real wealth for me in my life. REAL, which stands for Real Estate is Leverage, is a real estate company that I own that invests in many markets through a very specific criteria. We buy many houses a month, and at one point we were up to buying 24 houses a month. Let me share with you my journey of becoming a real estate investor by becoming a millionaire through real estate and sustainably holding my wealth through this cash flow model called a lease option. Now, many of you listening might be brand new to real estate. So let me start by just saying, why real estate? Real estate gives extraordinary tax advantages. It gives you great protection. You own real property, a real asset, and it's a great way to start. You can start in real estate for as little as $5,000 or $6,000. So some of you say, well, I don't have $5,000 or $6,000. I bet you know somebody who does. See, I'm a single mom, and I became a millionaire during my pregnancy of becoming a mom, 1999. And I have grown my wealth to multimillionaire status. I grow cash flow. I help other single moms. I help other folks become millionaires through real estate. And this model that I'm sharing with you, this real wealth model, which is the lease option model, is one of the fastest paths to cash. Here's why. When you buy a single family piece of property, and we're buying typically in some of my markets 40 to 60,000, some of my markets 60 to 80,000, but in my markets we're not buying more than $80,000 houses. That's very typical. And it's a very firm foundation. It's a very firm criteria. In each of the markets, my field partners know exactly what we will and will not buy. What we do is we purchase a very specific criteria. Let me give you the overview of the model, and then I'm going to go into this business plan of real estate as leverage, and show you step by step how you too could create a lease option program for yourself and have cash flow in real estate for the rest of your life. Here's essentially what it is. We buy single family houses. Each market depends. It might be 40, might be 60, might be $80,000. We don't buy over $80,000 houses. The minute we go under contract, we start remarketing it. We look for someone who has bad credit. 1/3 of the United States can't qualify for a mortgage. So there's a lot of people who would love to have these houses. They'd love to live in a house, not an apartment. And for those folks, this is the only way for them to have sustainable housing. We start marketing to these kind of folks the minute we're under contract. Our goal when we close that house, to own that house in 30 days, is that we close it in the morning, and by the afternoon we have the tenant closing with us to move in. And what I mean by closing with us is they're not just renting, they're leasing it. And because they have an option to purchase it, it's called, in some markets it's called a rent-to-own program. They're going to rent with the intent to own. But in most of our markets we call it a lease with an option to purchase. That option to purchase now gives us the benefit of being able to charge a little more than just rent. So say your rent is $600 in a market. In a lease program, you could probably get $650. If your rent is $900, you could maybe even get $1,000. So depending on the market, you can get more for your lease than the rent. And there's a non-refundable option payment that's paid when they lock in the price to purchase the house. The cash flow is extraordinary as an investor. So as you're listening to this program, I want you to think about where's an area around where you live. Now, it may not be in your backyard. You may need to go an hour or 2 hours away, and I'm going to encourage you to do that. It's worth it for your wealth building plan. But think about the criteria that I'm using as I share my model. And I share step by step how we go into a market, how we identify a market, how we identify tenants, how we do our remarketing, how we do our maintenance and management, how we do our bookkeeping, how we work with investors. We have a very sophisticated program. It absolutely is a surefire cash flow process that I encourage you to join in, create it in your market, come join us and create it with us. Whichever suits you, we'd love